Okay, cool. So this is round 5 of the Chicago Open here. And who am I playing? This guy. What's up, King Wiki? What's going on, bro? Welcome to this. Round 5. This man's name is Jeffrey Quirk. We are playing a King's Indian defense. It starts with D4. Now, grabbing a beer, BRB. All right, bro. What do you think? D4, I play knight f6. C4, G6, knight C3. This is all theory. King's Indian defense is an opening that you need to know your theory on, or you will get crushed, especially if you do like castle here. Or D6 and not know what the next moves are, you're going to be in trouble. Slight Leader says, great commentary, Canty. Thank you so much. Let's go. Appreciate that. D6 and Bishop E2. After Bishop E2, we have castle on the board. Then after castle is Bishop to E3. So Bishop E3, E5. I mean, this is kind of more of a sideline, they say. More of a sideline. And actually, what the engine or chess.com calls a semi-Auerbach system. Semi-Auerbach. So that's what this is called. But Bishop E3 was played. And a lot of times when they go Bishop E3, you still have to play E5. That's the thing about it. If they stop you from playing E5, then you play C5. And if they stop you from playing C5, you go E5. But really, you want to go E5. That's the main one. But if they stop you with Bishop G5, you go C5 instead. So that's how it is. After D5 here, I was supposed to go A5 immediately. It's a different move order because I was not able to get A5 in. And this is what I saw from a Naka game. Nakamura played this game, A5, and like B3 or something. And then after knight A6, G4, I swing this knight over H4, and you swing this knight to C5. And you also have F5 coming quickly this way. And I'm also able to play A4 in some cases. It's pretty good. This knight stops the B4 stuff, so I really start to get A4 in for real. But what happened is, because I wasn't used to this move order, I played knight E6 first. So this is what happened. He played G4. Now I can't go knight C5. I can't put this knight on C5. I can, but it's going to be rough after A3. If I try this now, he goes A3. Like, I don't have anything here. And then B4, and I'm just looking crazy. I'm just getting crushed now. Just like, GG, why am I still playing this game? So, it's I had to go knight C5. There's nothing else to do. I had to go here. Because it's hitting this pawn, and then I have to follow up with A5 to cement the knight into this outpost on C5. So he plays F3. After F3, I go A5. He goes H4, king side storm. This is usual stuff. You play H5 here. I play H5. And this gets very interesting. Some people are scared to play this, but you usually shouldn't be. This is sharp stuff. Never play F3. Look at him, see? Right, but knight H5, knight takes H5. I got knight G3. I got this outpost on F4. So it looks like white's attacking, but actually black's way better here. It's just a great position. So after H5, he plays G5. And during the game, actually, because I was not familiar with any games in this position, I was just here fresh. First time ever reaching this position. And so I'm fresh. I'm like, I've never been here before. So do I play knight E8 or knight H7? And actually, I thought G5 was an error. I just thought he shouldn't do that. You're happy to see G5. Actually, yes, I was happy to see G5. So I was like, I thought that was an error. But when I looked at it, I was like, oh, man. When I looked at it later, in the games and the database and stuff, I was like, oh, that's a real thing. This is real stuff. So, I wanted to, he said knight F to D7. Knight F to D7, the problem with that is that the bishop can't get out. That's the problem with knight F to D7. But knight H7 is the way. So, happy Friday. Happy Friday to you, Jim. Let's go. We in here. In these positions, you can always pivot to the center. Queen side is white. That's right. That's right. So I played knight H7, but I knew, and I remember no, it is. My only game, guys. I played Accelerator Dragon as black, right? Oh, no, that's the second game. So, my first game I ever lost over the board, Accelerated Dragon. I've only lost twice in the last 5 years playing a dragon. Accelerated Dragon over the board. I've only lost twice. And one of them is the Chicago Open first round tournament to the GM. But the other one was to a game, his name Maximilian Meinhardt. I think that's him. International Master. I played him back in 2015. Same tournament. I beat Casa Corleone. I beat an International Master. Great tournament, right? Lost to him, but I had a knight over here or something like this. It was like, actually, no, the bishop was trapped. It was a closed Sicilian, and his pawn got up here. This was one of the ones I didn't study so much of, and that's the one I lost to. So I ended up getting a pawn on F6, or he did. A white pawn on F6 with the bishop here, and it got locked out. So now I'm playing down a piece. No matter what happens, I'm always going to be down that piece because it never, ever got out. So with that being said, I was always very, very cautious of like, if I do not play this correctly, I'm going to be down a whole knight, because this knight has to go here and here to get out, because I can't go here, I can't go here, I can't go to f6. So I'm like, what do I do? And f6 might be scary, even though I didn't know. I knew I had to break. I knew I had to break, meaning pawn break here. But at the end of the day, I was like, I've never been in this position before. And I was like, well, I know I need to be dynamic and active. And this is where, you know, I kind of was like lost. I didn't know which route I should go. So looking at the king side is not necessarily a mistake. Those high-speed dragons sound dangerous, says Dale. What's up, Dale? Welcome to the stream, bro. Rat1234, thanks for the follow. So he follows up with b3. He stops my a4 push because I was really about to play it. I was so ready, and he stopped it. So then I played c6. Again, something that I saw in a lot of King's Indian games that I was studying. They just play c6 all the time. Break it up. I'm new to chess, but I love it. A lot of you chess streamers are both amazing and super entertaining. I really love the chess community. Picks up gains, more of a following. You all deserve it. Thanks so much for the 20 bits, Quasi. That's what's up. Thanks for the love and the positive words and positive energy that you bring to the stream with these Jedi. Appreciate you. Thank you. Hope you're having a great time. The problem for white here is he hasn't played queen d2 and castle queen side yet, so c6 is possible. Correct. What happens if bishop takes c5? I was hoping for that, actually. Let me actually show you this line. Here, 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 here. I was so excited if he would have went for this, because this is a hanging pawn, but then bishop f8. And then what's my plan afterwards? Well, let's just make some moves. Knight h3, bishop e7. What am I doing? Watch this. Castle, knight here, rook to d1. Actually, that's a hanging knight, so maybe no castle. So let's go back then. Instead of castles, I don't know, rook d1, bishop, I don't know where, e6, d7. Let's just take this because it's there. Hit him with the check. Takes over here, rook takes. The goal is that my knight's going to swing over here, and I'm just winning this endgame in a very nice fashion. Or at least I have a very strong endgame, to say the least. This was what I was prepared to do and go into when I played c6. So, b takes c5? You mean d takes c6, I think. But c6, I played c6, and Darth Sidious, what's going on? Welcome to the stream. Bishop takes knight. You mean here, right? Bishop takes knight. And then queen d2. Bishop takes queen d2. I mean, I'm not a fan of this. I don't think this is good. I don't think this is too good. I mean, he just got rid of that dark square bishop. f6 is very nice now. f6 is beautiful, especially if he takes it, takes. This diagonal is black's, and it's going to be pretty rough, I would say. f4 is very weak. I'm feeling good. I would be a big fan of that. Big fan of that. You want to keep him, you know, keep everything intact right now. After c6, you played knight to h3. Knight h3 is a move that I've seen many times before in these kind of positions, where you just swing it back to f2 and d3. So I was familiar with what he was trying to do, but b3 is a blunder. f6, queen d2, f takes, rook f4 is super strong. That's right. That's right, Sauce Master. That's right. That's what I found. I found this, guys. So I played f5, and this was my, in a way, I would say this is not a blunder, but in positional terms, this is a positional blunder, because I was not supposed to play f5. In all the games that you look at, it's somewhat of an opening trap. He says b3 is a blunder, play f6, queen d2, f takes, h takes, rook takes, f4 is strong. Yeah, bro, it's dumb strong. It's because, I mean, I was supposed to play f6 right here. f6 is the move. This is what you have if you look at database games. If you look at King's Indian games that are sharp like this in this position, it's supposed to be f6. And I played f5, thinking that I wanted to get a little bit extra. You know, pawn takes. If he takes, I can take with the bishop and get the bishop out. What's the problem with moving one more square up? Well, the problem with moving up is that the knight is definitely highlighted that I have no squares. So if he never takes this, this knight will probably never get in the game. It may, but it's going to take a long time. And after I get here to d7, what's my destination? Why did I even come over here? Why did I waste so much time with this knight? f6 at least guarantees or very close to guarantees that he can have a future if he can break this up. And I even tell my students this a lot. Make sure your pieces have a future. And after I played f5, I did not have a future with that knight. So f6 would have been the move. And then after queen d2, just like how Sauce Master is in the chat right now, and he says rook f4, that's actually one of the lines I was going to show you guys here. It starts with either pawn takes or bishop takes h3. Bishop takes, rook takes, pawn takes, and rook f4. Rook f4. Mic drop. dropped the mic, dropped the pen that I was writing with notation wise after I wrote it. Rook F4, drop the pen. On top of the board, hit the clock, walk away. And then come back and look at him and just stare at him real hard, just staring at him, waiting for him to make a move. That would have been sweet. I never seen anything like this. I actually have in my great predecessors, the Petrosian one, because that's the one I have. I don't have all the other ones. I got the one with Petrosian and Spassky. But I saw this. I saw Petrosian do this a lot. And I was like, wow. I felt like a sense of Petrosian saying, what's up, big fella? I see you, big fella. That's what he's saying. So it was very nice because he's very nice with exchange sacrifices. And rook f4. The idea is if bishop takes, pawn takes. First off, this pawn's very super ridiculously weak. It's going to be done for. What's wrong with bishop takes rook? Right. That's what we have to get into. But this pawn is also hanging. So what's wrong with it? It's not that the fact that something's wrong with it. It's like what's right with it, basically. You know, what's right with it is that rook f4, right? It's so nice. This bishop becomes, what'd you say? Bishop e5 is almost godlike. That's, I mean, in a way, this bishop is disgusting. Even if he goes rook c1, steps out the way, bishop e5, and I'm going to sit here, and now you can't get outside the line here. I can take this. I even got a pass pawn. The rook is not doing that well. This is an exchange sacrifice. So I sacked it for some compensation here. A huge compensation that comes out of nowhere. This bishop is terrible because in the endgame like this, I mean, look, everything's on white. This knight has no future. c6, stop that. This is bad. Nothing's working. King's in the center still. The rook, only good piece you have is the rook on h3. That's the only good piece, actually. And at this point, it's like lost. Mr. Canty is like Pawn Grabber's version of Petrosian. That's right. Come on, Dale. Look, hey, don't get me too hype in here now, big fan. Don't even do it. Don't even do it. So, you know, but this is what really would have happened. Bishop e5, and I did not see this over the board. Wave said Super Spark. What's up, Super Spark? What's going on? But I was like, that was crazy. Never seen it. When he played rook f4, it was like rook f4. You ever seen a water bottle drop, the water bottle flip, and then it dropped the table and everybody's like this. Oh my goodness. And everything just slows down like they just got hit real hard with a wave. That's exactly what rook f4 is like. And if it's like, wow, I can't wait, you know, till I can actually really do that and win a game after doing that. That's what would have happened, but it did not happen that way. So fast forward, I played f5 instead. So I'm gonna show you how I won the game anyway. But f6 is what I learned for later. So knight f2, after knight f2, I took on d5. Why did I take on d5? Well, I wanted to clarify. Well, what does clarify mean? Well, if he takes with the e pawn, it's going to be a different pawn. It's going to be a different plan as if he takes with the c pawn and vice versa. If he takes with the knight, same thing. If he takes with the queen, there's a different plan for anything that he takes with. So he took with the c pawn. That's the most principled, the best way to take, I think. And then bishop to d7. I just developed my bishop, put the rook over here to c8. And just have a solid game, kind of wait and see what happens. Again, f6 would have been so much more play for me because I'm only limited to so many moves and squares because my knight can't really get out. This is just looking ugly over here. So knight to d3, I played b6. And if he takes this, if he ever takes this, I just have a nice solid structure. Nice solid structure. Black's doing quite well here. Quite well. So no problems. He didn't take it though. He actually played queen d2. And I thought he was going to castle. So I was like, if he's going to castle, let me at least try to open up the center just slightly, just in case. And I took on e4. So after pawn takes, he took back. And then I played rook to c8. Just get the rook to c8. I don't know what I'm even doing next. I just know that let's just get the piece ready to do something when that time comes. He played rook c1. And I sat here for a minute. I sat here for a while. And I'm like, what do I do? What is a plan? I can't. My bishop is like, my dark square bishop. It's like, what am I going to do with this dark square bishop? What's the future? How do you spell it, basically? Like, what is that? You know, so that's not a move. It's not a real thing. How about the knight? Knight is the same thing. Like, where do I go? What's a realistic future here? I don't see one. So now I'm starting to panic in a way. Like, what do I even do? What's my next? Do I just shuffle pieces? And then you got to think, like, did this whole opening, is this what this opening was about? To shuffle pieces? I must have went wrong somewhere. And of course, when I looked at it and later on, I realized that yes, f6 is where I went wrong. But I still had to figure it out from here. So I had what I call like the GM moment or the Magnus or Carlsen moment. I watched many games of them where they'll move a piece one square The same, like you could go to this square the last move. You could have played the same move last move, but you took 2 moves to go to the same square that you could have did in 1. And they did that. And I was like, what's that about? You know, but sometimes plans change. Things change very quickly based off of what they did. And that's exactly what happened here. Luckily, there's nothing else to do in the position. I played rook to b8. I played rook to b8. So I could have played rook b8 just to start out. But I was like, you know what? Let's try rook c8. He went rook c1. You know what? Rook b8 in a way. And now, is that triangulation? I mean, yes, in a way, but this wasn't. I mean, this wasn't triangulation at all. This was just like, I'm going to move over one so I can do something else because now I have another plan. And now after rook b8, he plays rook to f1. It depends if the cash hunting. Magnus moment, I know, right? I feel like Magnus, right? Rook f1, I play queen c8. Now it comes to light. Now the plan is coming to light. What do I want to do? I want this queen over here in this area. I want this queen over here doing something in this area. We don't know what yet, but we want it to do something. So I know if I can get over there by trading this bishop off, or bishop h3 in some cases, and then bishop g2, and then going queen h3, then I'm going to have a good game, a very good game. And this is what happened. He played b4. This was the critical test, as in like there's so much stuff going on. Because if this knight moves and he has discoveries all the time, if I move this knight, he may be in betweening me. Well, actually, unless I check him. But at the end of the day, he does have this going on. Pawn takes, knight takes, the bishop opens up. It looks like he's trying to swing at me right now. So after that, rook takes f1. Bishop takes, I took this just to clarify and now make everything nice and solid. So I sat here for a while. Sat here for a good minute. And I was like, what if I go bishop h3 right now? You always have to calculate all these things in your head, by the way. So bishop h3, if I go here now, this is not the move I made, but if I go bishop h3, the problem was knight c6. Well, first off, he's hitting b8, but also he's hitting another square, knight e7, and now that's like, hey, lights out, big fella. This is, today ain't your day. Just go home. So, you know, knight c6 would have been bad. So after rook b7, oh, I'm defending. Well, not anymore. Bishop takes c5. We snap here on c5. Bishop a6, and I'm like, but I have a move. Watch this, big fella. Queen f8. Get him out of here. That's almost a real thing. If he takes on this rook, queen f1, that's made on the board. But he has a move himself, queen h2. Oh my goodness. That's real. He can actually do that. So now the king can get out. King has a square, an escape square. I had 2 moves here, and I'm thinking of this in my head, like, do I go rook b6? But rook b6, if we go into this line, this is going to be very, very bad, to say the least, and the most. I'm not a fan of this, and this rook is not in the game anymore. So I did all of that and tried to get all tricky and clever just to lose. Not a fan, not a move, not happening. So if queen f3, he probably would have did something like maybe bishop takes rook. But realistically, am I really going to mate him with his queen and his bishop and he got 3 pieces around his king? It's just not going to happen. So I didn't go for it. I didn't go for it. I didn't go for it. Yeah, he can. He can go king d2 after queen h2. Yeah, king b2. King b2 is over here. Over here, but queen f8, queen h2, bishop takes. Yep, there's nothing to do here. Nothing to do here. It wouldn't have worked. It wouldn't have worked. Rook b2, rook b2, queen takes b2. And then he blocks with the knight or the bishop. Come back. Well, yeah, he comes back. I looked at all of that. Rook b7, bishop takes, pawn takes, bishop a6, queen f8. And then what is it here? Rook b2. I was like, oh, that's cold. But then, and what if he just takes this now, actually? Take it right now. Take it right now. Like there's no, it's not even a check. There's no check down here. Yeah, I thought I had it. You know, I thought I was good. I thought there was something there, but there was not. So what I did is I felt like Magnus again, or Naka, and just play rook a8. I'm like, you know what, bro? Hey, I'm out your way. Rook a8. I'm just gone. So when you go knight c6, it's not a tempo on my rook. Not a tempo. So now I'm okay. So then he played queen b2. And post-game analysis, me and him went over this. and we looked at it and we was like, this doesn't work. This doesn't work. And he shouldn't have played queen to b2. Queen b2 here was really bad. Queen b2 was the kind of just like, what does this move do? He should have just played knight c6. Knight c6, but after here, the engine's like, oh, it's just about, it's roughly equal. Queen f8 is a move. They also said king h8 is a move. So it was pretty equal. Taking this, if bishop takes, pawn takes, you have a check on c4 and bishop d5 to do this. What opening is this? This is the King's Indian defense. King's Indian defense. But he played queen b2. I followed up with bishop h3, like, let's go, let's do this. After bishop h3, he played knight c6. He's going right for it. Boom, e7. That's a real thing. That's GG. Queen g4. I'm like, why you let me just come over here in the crib like this? Queen g4. I should be fine. H here, I'm hitting this. I'm hitting everything, actually. And at the end of the day, you got to be careful because knight d3 is a real check. So he played queen f2, and he moved that real fast. I mean, you could tell that he was ready to make this move. He made queen f2 so fast. And I was like, wow. Then I looked, and I was like, if I go, you know what? Let me actually pause this. Pause the video if you're watching. No. Check this out. What does black do? Black to move here. Rook f8, 97, king there, knight check, king, knight takes rook. King h8 says heat miser. Double exclamation coming from John. Bishop takes f1 from Moss Beats. Here we go. Here we go, guys. Rook f8 is not a move. It is not a move. It is not. Let me put it in the chat so you remember that I said it's not a move. Because rook f8 loses. 1997, Eddie Barber was right. If I play rook f8, because that was my intention. 97, king here, knight takes, and it's just one of those water bottle flip, hits the table, and you just wave. He hits you that hard, matrix all the way through the chair. It's a wrap. Knight takes g6 and king g8, knight takes f8. And you can just resign. Loses spectacularly. It does. It loses spectacularly. I didn't know you could lose spectacularly, and that's exactly what happened, right? So if I would have played rook f8, I would have lost. Now, we know that that's not the move. So if that's not the move, what is the move is the question. And this is where a Jedi becomes a real, becomes a master at this point. Where did black go here? King h8 prophylactics from Josh. Black to move. I did this on the board. a2. We have bishop takes f1. Rook a2. Bishop f8. Bishop f8 I considered, but I was like, I did all of this to play bishop f8? Is this what life really is? Is this what life comes to? Is this the end of life? Just to play bishop f8. Bishop takes f1, bishop takes f1. I see that fork now. Then he flexed and stared at him. Josh, bishop takes, king takes, knight d3. Oh, man. Bishop takes. Well, I mean, what about queen takes, though, Josh? Well, I guess it's just easy win is what you're saying. Bishop takes f1 looks right. Instead, bishop takes f1 may be a move in your old stream, but learn from that stream. Yeah, that's right. Bishop takes f1 looks like it could be a move, which it probably can. I mean, just because king x f1, knight d3 stuff, like Josh said. But it might be a perpetual. 97, he can check me back and forth, perpetual draw, if he's losing in that case. But here's what the big fella did. Nobody has guessed it. And John is correct. I should have just, once I did this move, I should have stood up, flexed. This is the move I made on the board. Check this out, guys. 1, 2, 3. Bam! There it goes. Knight takes g5. Because I needed an extra square for my king. I needed a square for my king if he goes 97. So rook f8 now works. Now works. And John said I should have just flexed like this and just stared at him until he make a move. Knight takes g5. I did that on the board. Mic drop. Walk away. That is a piece sacrifice. I did that. Knight takes g5. Knight takes g5. Were you wearing sunglasses the entire time? The entire time. Never took them off. Wow, says Mouse Beast. I know, guys. And I was so happy making this move here. Everything loses. Everything. They always say, even here, like with bishop takes, rook here, this was always one line after 97, king here. and then knight f5. If he goes this route, this is a way that you lose slower. You still lose. It's a miserable position to play, but you just lose slower. He didn't want to go for that ever, and I was very comfortable going into that. I fogged up this move. Yeah, if you would have flexed and I saw and was laughed so hard, I would have gotten tossed up and being too loud. Walked away, stepped into a plane, flew to Australia, came back and finished the game. That's losing there. You live in Chicago? No, I do not. I live in Michigan, but we drove down with the team. Nice little Detroit team, Michigan team, and it was nice. So pawn takes was the move though. And actually, if bishop takes to finish out this line, we have rook f8. If he takes here, boom, knight d3 check first. Knight d3 check first. And because no matter where he goes, I get to take the queen with check first. And then I take the bishop, so I don't lose my queen as well. What's wrong with knight takes e4? Where is that at? Do you mean like back here? Queen f2, knight takes e4. Let's see what is wrong with knight takes e4. I think it's the same thing. It's just a perpetual. Let me see what the engine says. It's actually +8 at this point. Knight e7, c4. Wow, there's a lot of things. It's like pretty tough. It's just saying that white is up by +8 at this point. So knight takes c4 just probably wouldn't work. Knight takes g5. And then after knight takes g5, we have, oh yeah, bishop takes g5. But he took with the pawn here. Just knight takes e4 and bishop takes h3. The queen is overworked. Yeah, actually, Josh, I just saw that too. I just saw it at the end of the day, actually. Not the best move. That's right. So brilliant. Talk to us about how you arrived at that move. Knight takes g5. I arrived at this move, knight takes g5, because I knew that I needed a square. I almost played bishop f8, but I was like, man, there's got to be something else. There's got to be something. And I was like, I wish my king had another square. And literally, you know what's funny, guys? Talking to yourself in your head, like all chess players do. Oh, I go here, he goes there, or blah, blah, blah. Oh, that may be made. You're actually talking to yourself. But you need to ask yourself questions and answer those questions. Yes, you might sound crazy, but you're also going to win that game as a Jedi. Let's go. Moss Beats, what up, man? Thanks for the 8 months. Thank you so much for that sub, bro. Appreciate it. Congrats for the beauty move. Thanks, man. I literally was like, I was like, man, if my king had an extra square, and I looked at the knight on h7, I was like, oh, I could just take this pawn. And then I found the move. Literally, it was a series of just a question. I need, or a want. I need another square for my king. And king h7 came into mine, which means my knight came here, and that's immediately how I did it. How do you punish pawn takes? Well, let's look. Knight takes g5, pawn takes, rook f8. I'm hitting the queen here. Again, the same threat. If bishop takes, knight d3 check, and I take the queen with check, and then come back and get the bishop. If knight e7, I go king h7, same thing. Knight f5, pawn takes. It's a slow win, and it's miserable for white to play. So I would play rook f8. So he goes into this round. He actually goes into bishop takes c5. I just looked at this with the engine yesterday, and they said bishop takes f1. I was like, oh, snap. I ain't see that. I wasn't even looking at that at all. I was looking at either pawn takes or take the queen. Bishop takes f1, I didn't even consider. The engine said this is the, I guess, the easiest route to go without many complications for both sides. Or really just for black, because black's winning. But I played rook f8. He took here to get the material. I took the queen, bishop takes, and then I took here on g5 first to hit the rook. Now you got to know, yeah, he's down in exchange, but he got compensation. I mean, he got minor pieces and a passed pawn, especially if he can pick this up. So I need to be careful. And you always have to use the pieces that you have on the board. And no matter what they are, use what you have. And this is a perfect display of that. Rook to c2, I play bishop takes f1. And I wanted to get rid of one of those bishops because I'm like, well, he got too many pieces. Let's get rid of one. But I got to be careful of trying to trade everything because I don't have that many pieces. I only have the queen. And you got to be careful when you only have a queen. So after that, I play h4. I have to use the pieces that I have. What pieces do I have? I know I got 2 passed pawns, so I can run these boys. I have a queen and a bishop. So I got to get all of these active right now. So I'll play h4. He took on g3. Immediately, I'm thinking, like, if I'm not careful, if I'm not aggressive, if I play around, if I shuffle my king, if I even think about anything else but attack, I'm going to lose because this pawn is going to do his thing over here. So h3, bishop g1. Queen g3, I cut everything off. Just like when you're about to mate with the king and queen, you cut the board off. So I cut the board off. I made it very hard for pieces to move. If this bishop moves, I can push with a queen threat. I also made a big threat here of check, because if he blocks with the knight, you take the rook, and vice versa. You block with the rook, I take the knight. So it's very difficult to hold everything. King can't even move without the bishop hanging. So queen g3 kind of holds down everything and making a threat at the same time. So knight b4 was the move he made here, defending this square. And what did I play? Bishop h6. Just get the bishop on the diagonal and see what happens. And actually, I had another move in mind. After h4, or after a4, I followed up with bishop d2. Jedi move. Drop the mic. Drop the pin on the table. And just look at him. Bishop d2. And he resigned after. Bishop d2 is threatening mate on the back rank. It's also threatening mate on g2. It's also threatening to take here if rook takes. I fork these two. I pick up the knight and the pawn's going to follow. These are going to fall. And I also have a passed pawn over here. So it was just lost.